Do you believe in miracles? Bible prophecy says the last days will be filled with signs, wonders, and supernatural events, but not all of them will come from God. Some will shake the world, others will happen quietly, almost hidden, yet change lives forever. Today you'll see both, straight from Scripture and in a story unfolding right now that you'll never forget. It involves a rare disease, two families you'll fall in love with, and a chain reaction of generosity that only God could orchestrate. By the end, you won't just believe in miracles, you'll want to be a part of one. Welcome to the Endtime Show. Vince Stegall here. So happy you've joined me today. We need your help. Be sure to share this video right now. Give us a heart, give us a thumbs up, and make sure you're engaging in the chat. Do you believe in miracles? Let us know. Type "I believe in miracles" in the chat right now. When you share it, put that in the caption. We want the world to know that there's still a group of people that believe in miracles and that miracles are happening today. And so comment "I believe in miracles," share this video and say "I believe in miracles." I want to see who all's on board with us on that in the chat. So let us know. Yeah, in a world drowning in noise, compromise, and confusion, truth matters more than ever. That's one thing that we highlight around here, and that's why we've expanded Only Source, our spirit-filled end-time platform where believers can access powerful teaching and discipleship content anytime, anywhere in the world. Right now, every dollar donated towards Only Source is being matched up to $110,000. So when you give and fuel new shows, in-depth series, and digital resources for a generation hungry for clarity, it gets doubled every single dollar. So this is your chance to double your impact and invest in the future of digital ministry. Go to endtime.com/2x or call 800-363-8463 to double your impact. All right, I'm talking about miracles today. When people hear miracles in the end times, their minds usually go straight to the blockbuster scenes, you know, fire falling from the sky, rivers turning to blood, maybe a couple of guys in Jerusalem breathing fire at their enemies while CNN tries to figure out how to report it without mentioning God. Well, those are in the Bible, real miracles, real signs, and yes, some of them will absolutely blow your mind. Revelation 11:5-6 says, "Of the two witnesses in Jerusalem, and if any man will hurt them, fire proceedeth out of their mouth and devoureth their enemies." These have power to shut heaven, that it rain not in the days of their prophecy, and have power over waters to turn them to blood, and to smite the earth with all plagues as often as they will. That's not symbolic. That's real. Fire, drought, blood, plagues. These are miracles, but they're also judgments, and they are coming. But here's the thing. Not every miracle in the last days will come from God. 2 Thessalonians 2, 9 through 10 says, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders, and with all the deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish. And Revelation 13 through 14 says of the false prophet, and he doth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles. So, in the end times, the supernatural is not optional, it's everywhere. And the question isn't, will there be miracles? The question is, which source are they coming from, and will you be able to tell the difference? Jesus warned us about this in Matthew 24. He said, for there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Deceive me and you. That means two things. One, there will be real miracles from God in the end times to confirm his word, protect his people, and advance the gospel. And two, there will also be counterfeit miracles to distract, deceive, and destroy. In other words, the closer we get to the end, the more miraculous activity we're going to see. And I'm excited about that. So don't forget, put I believe in miracles if you're as excited as I am about that. Put it in the chat. But just because something's supernatural doesn't mean it's from the Lord. So what's a real miracle from God in the end times? Well, a real miracle lines up with his word. It glorifies Jesus Christ, not the person doing it. It produces righteousness, not rebellion. So in Hebrews 2:4, it says, God also bearing them witness, both with signs and wonders, and with diverse miracles and gifts of the Holy Ghost, according to his own will. That means God uses miracles to confirm his truth, not to entertain us, not to prove us right, but to point people to himself. And here's where we have to be careful. If we think miracles are only fire falling from the sky, we'll miss the ones God is doing right under our noses. Some look like a surgeon in scrubs who suddenly has access to a brand new treatment that didn't even exist a year ago. Some look like paperwork getting approved in record time when it should have taken months. Some look like a stranger showing up with exactly what you need, exactly when you need it. And sometimes it's God speaking to someone's heart to give sacrificially, and they don't even know they're the answer to someone else's prayer. And when you strip away the drama, you realize the God who will one day call down fire is the same God who can guide a doctor's hand, open a closed door, and move on a person's heart. My pastor says this a lot. If you need a miracle, be part of someone else's miracle. And I think that's a perfect strategy for those of us navigating these end times, because in a world full of deception, the surest way to be on God's side is to join him in what he's doing in someone else's life. And I've seen it happen again recently in a way that stopped me in my tracks. It involves two families that I've known for coming up on 20 years, two incredible moms, and a chain reaction of miracles that you can't just make up. Even if you tried, you're not going to make this up. It's the kind of story that proves God is still moving, and that sometimes the miracle you need starts when you decide to be part of someone else's. It's a story about miracles, not just the kind we read about in prophecy, but the kind we can participate in right now. And I was recently speaking with my friends Jonathan and Kayla Mansour, and they began to share with me how God's been moving mountains in their life. And one way is through our other friends, John and Kayla Ferris. And that's when they told me this story. I'm sitting there. We're actually outside of their home, standing probably in fire ant hills and who knows what in the dark in Texas. If you've never been in Texas on a dark summer night, you don't even know what I'm talking about. But we're talking, and they start telling me how God has been working in their life. And I went, man, maybe we could share that on the Endtime show one day. And then some scheduling shifts happened last week. And Kayla texts me and she says, if you were serious about that, let us know. And I'm like, well, how about Monday? And she's like, well, like in a few days? I'm like, yeah, there's been some changes that have happened. And so, I know we're in the middle of our summer needs campaign that we're doing. We're trying to raise a lot of money to do what God's called us to do. But man, I thought it would be just wonderful to just pause that and say, let's bring you guys on and just talk about this story, because what God's been doing is so miraculous. it's you'll hear the story, but the miracles are so amazing, and I feel like it would encourage many of us as we're going through chaotic times to hear what God's doing, and I believe that many of you are going to be ministered to today, and encouraged, and your faith is going to be built, and I'm thankful that they agreed to come on. So again, I've done this show one other time with two women, my wife and Lana Lyman. And I was thrown on under the bus many times. I left here in the doghouse, and I know at least you, Kayla Mansour, both. Welcome. Let me just start by saying welcome, Kayla Mansour in the middle, Kayla Ferris on the end. So Kayla and Kayla, welcome to the Endtime show. Neither of you probably ever expected to be here.
Not this quickly.
Well, and like I said, it wasn't necessarily planned that far out. It just kind of happened with how everything played out with the schedule. And so now you're here, and I want you guys to start, I guess it would be you, Kayla Mansour, start by sharing. Well, first of all, I want you guys to answer this question, if you will. Okay. I didn't tell you I was going to ask it, and I'm known for throwing people under the bus. So who do you think the Antichrist is?
Oh, my.
I'm just kidding. Seriously, though, Kayla, both of you, I've known you since I moved to Texas in 2007. We've been going to church together for a long time, and way more than that. We've done a lot of life together outside of just going to church on Sundays. Let's start with, I remember when you were pregnant with Marley. So let's start by talking about Marley. That's a big reason why this is even happening.
Yeah, we were serving in youth ministry together when I was pregnant with Marley. But she's our first kid, our first daughter. She's now 12 years old, so you've got to see her grow up in church. And it wasn't probably the easiest first child I could have imagined. There were a lot of hiccups along the way. I had a wonderful pregnancy, but the day she was born, I remember her projectile vomiting over me and me thinking, is this what babies do? Is this how it works? And just a string of events happened that things weren't normal. Things weren't developing right. Delays were happening. We were having to seek interventions and see specialists and, just things I never, ever anticipated or saw coming with Marley. So she's definitely stretched us along the way. She has stretched our faith enormously. Because I know today I can sit here and say we can't do it without him, honestly. But along the journey, we've had to get help. And now here we are 12 years later. We didn't have answers for 9.5 years. We went and did all the testing and all the specialists and all the things. But one doctor said at her 9.5-year visit, why don't we do genetic testing again, which we had already done. And I said, okay, we've already done that. And I'm pretty sure you're just going to tell me to keep doing everything like I've been doing because that's what everybody else tells me to do. But my mama heart was determined, and I said, I will overturn every rock to help this child. I will not stop helping her. But we did the genetic testing, and we showed up that day in the room, and I remember the doctor walking in and said, are y'all ready to talk about the diagnosis? And I was so taken back because it had never crossed my mind that there was something to call it, that there was a name, that we were going to ever get answers. I had never thought that far into the future. And that's the day we found out Marley has a rare genetic condition called NARS1. Less than 100 people in the world have this condition, which is mind-boggling if you think about that. And
how many in the United States?
20, 40. I mean, it's a small number. With her variant, there's a handful of kids. And it's just, we didn't see this coming.
No doubt. I think to show everyone how far back we actually go, there's a photo of me and Marley. I don't know if it's ready, and I don't know if anyone will recognize me in it anyway, but hopefully that we can get that photo up at some point. But we've led to all these years. You said you didn't have answers for 9.5 years. Mm-mm. So she's 12, so that means you've had answers for the last couple of years. How do we get from that 9.5 year mark to, I guess, now?
Well, at her visit, the doctor walked in and handed me a sheet of paper, said, "I've never seen this. I've never heard of this. We think she'll live into adulthood. Good luck." And that's how we left.
Can we talk about that for a minute? What do you mean adulthood? We think she'll live in adulthood.
Yeah, we think she'll grow up to be an adult, but we don't know if she'll make it that far.
Is that normal with NARS-1? What's...
Well, at the time...
Can we talk about that?
Yeah, at the time I didn't know anyone with NARS-1. I do now know there are some people in their 30s with NARS-1, and I've actually got to meet him this last fall, and it was a beautiful moment. A shout out to James. He's an amazing human, and I didn't even know, at that time. So I was just thinking, is my baby gonna die? Like what does life look like? Like, I already knew probably I was gonna be taking care of her for the rest of my life, and she wasn't gonna go off to college, and she wasn't gonna do other things that other parents and kids did together. And so I was already processing that, but for them to say we don't know anything about it, good luck, and didn't even have a support or a foundation or anyone to link up to. So I literally left there with no answers, but I don't turn over that easy. So
that's true.
I went hunting, and that same day I found Rachel, who's the founder of the Roy Bell Foundation, the only NARS-1 foundation in the entire world. She lost her beautiful daughter, Roy Bell, to NARS-1. And because of that, her and another mama, Terry, started the Roy Bell Foundation. And I'm so thankful they did. In their hurt and in their pain, what they did has given me hope and has given me promise that we're working towards something bigger.
There's a photo of Marley as a baby right there.
Oh, yeah. She's adorable. Super cute kid. We were just so thrilled to have our first kiddo. But I remember getting in the car that day. I love kind of telling this story, but I tell people all the time God speaks to me through music, and I sat in the car that day just bawling my eyes out with her in the car seat in the back, and the song came on by Maverick City, "Fear is Not My Future." And so that's kind of my motto.
Will you sing it for us?
No, not today. Maybe another day.
Where's that photo of me and Marley? I want to pull that up real quick because my hair is too good to pass. Oh, it's coming up.
Yeah.
You'll see it here in a moment. But
yeah, Vince used to make a crazy sound at her every church service. So
I still do that sound.
So she knew he was coming.
Yeah. I wanted to quickly... We're going to get to the details later, but I want to quickly bring up these... Oh, yeah, there we are. Look at that hair. Well, I don't know what was going on, but look at her bow. You can barely see her head behind there. I want to talk about the keychains real quick, and we'll explain this later, but the Kayla story, in my notes, I just have the Kaylas. So the Kaylas merging together here, I would like everyone to go to endtime.com/K20, endtime.com/K20. I mentioned earlier we are in the middle of our Summer Needs campaign, and we've had partners say we'll match every donation, and we're grateful for that. But I want to pause here, and I want to direct everyone to go to endtime.com/K20 because Kayla Ferris jumps in out of nowhere, and we'll get to the story later, but she's making keychains. God is blessing that. These keychains are now being used to help support Marley and y'all, and we'll get into that story, but the keychains are $10, and Kayla began selling those, and the Lord spoke to her about something. Again, we'll get into that later, but if you go to endtime.com/K20, every donation for a $20 or more, they're going to get a keychain. But I don't want to ruin the story. We'll tell the story later. But I'll tell you, I'm believing the Lord. I'm believing the Lord for $50,000 to be raised today on this show to go towards this. That's crazy, I know, but I'm believing it's going to happen. Endtime.com/K20. Endtime gets $0 from this. This has nothing to do with anything that we've got going on. It's just happening, and we will never see $1 of that for this ministry, but it's going well, we're connected to you, so I suppose we'll see it firsthand how God's going to do the miraculous here. But we'll get into that story later. Endtime.com/K20. I would love to do $50,000 in keychains and more, or who knows what. But believe in God for that. Sorry I interrupted you on your story. I just wanted to get that out real quick. Where did we leave off?
I was in the car crying.
Oh, and now you're sitting here
now
crying.
I'm crying again.
Well, let's start from there.
Yeah, I just remember that day feeling hopeless and feeling hurt and feeling broken, but also seeing that God saw me in that moment, and I didn't know how we were going to figure it out, but we were going to figure it out. And I went home and, immediately started researching. Actually, I went immediately to my church prayer room and fell on my face and prayed that day and just said, God, lead me, because I don't know how I'm going to do this, and I don't know what the future looks like. And from there, I started doing some research, and by the end of the day, I was on the phone with Rachel, one of the founders of the Roy Bell Foundation. She told me more about NARS-1 in a 30-minute conversation than the doctor could hand me on a piece of paper that day. And I'm just eternally grateful for that conversation and for their support. And it was literally like we waited 9.5 years to get her diagnosis. And then 1 month exactly later, Rachel calls me and said, I think I found something we can apply for Marley. They are going to create an individual medicine for her NARS-1 condition that will go in and fix that protein that is broken, and Marley will be able to have capabilities to do things better, and to, that gene won't be broken as badly as it is now. And I mean, that blew my mind because I hadn't even got that far. But it was literally, we waited 9.5 years for 1 month wait to have an answer of a possible miracle for Marley. And I just, looking back, it's like if we would have got that diagnosis earlier on, that opportunity might not have come at the time. I mean, granted, the NARS-1 gene actually wasn't found till 2020. We had done all this genetic testing ahead of time, but of course I didn't find it because the gene hadn't been found yet. So it's very, very new, and a lot of things are happening right now. So it's just wild to see how God has orchestrated the perfect timing in Marley's life.
Well, and I'll add that part of this stress that you're just skipping right over like it never happened is think about all the doctor's visits. Think about, I know it's easy for you, but everyone out there, think about insurance. That's one of your biggest fights every single year. You're fighting insurance. Can you talk about that for a minute? Because I don't think anyone likes dealing with insurance. Mm-hmm. I've been recently trying to figure out insurance for a car situation, and I'm like, how do these people have a job? It's unbelievable. I can't even imagine having to deal with what you deal with every week. Can you talk about just the struggles of all that process as well? Yeah,
I mean, financially, it has been a very expensive journey for our family. We are an insurance family. We have to have insurance because Marley needs her therapy school, speech, OT, PT, and then the things we do that aren't even covered by insurance. But I literally fight for the insurance every 6 months. It
kind of becomes a full-time job.
It has become a full-time job. Advocacy is such a full-time job. But at the same time, you're just like, you can't win. I pay you a lot of money every month. So once again, that tenacity and that determination, I'm thankful God gave me those traits because I have to go to bat for her every 6 months because they want to take services away from her. They want to limit services. And it's, I get that 6 months is coming up and I get that knot in my throat. But I will share quickly a small miracle that God did. In February, we lost her therapy school, her ABA services. She has an autism diagnosis in addition to her NARS-1 diagnosis, and they took it away. They pulled it out, and in one day she can't go and receive these one-on-one services that are so beneficial to her, to learning life skills and learning to incorporate into situations and so forth. And we were without that for almost 6 months. And we were fighting, and we had denials coming up. And once you get like 3 denials, you're done. You're not going to make it back through. So we were at that second denial period, and out of nowhere, the insurance called and said, we're going to overturn the denial, and Marley gets to go back to her therapy in the next 6 months. Don't even worry about it because, you won't have to reapply. And I can't even tell you like what a moment that was. Like I couldn't even believe it, but it's just like, I don't know why I had to walk through that 6-month period. Probably God was building my faith to trust in him and to keep pushing and to keep serving and to keep giving and to keep showing up for Marley and to showing up in my ministries and however I could. But he did it. He did it, and it was totally a God moment.
And there's been a lot of those lately, and I can't wait to get into those stories. So you get the diagnosis 9.5 years ago, and you're walking us through those last few years. So where do you pick up from there?
Well, 1 month later, we get the opportunity to apply for the individual medicine with the foundation. There's a group out there called Enlorium who makes medicine for free, for life, for kids with rare diseases. And we applied. We had to go through a process. We had to get a doctor on board. We had to get an institution on board who was going to be willing to support us. And we did all those things, and they accepted Marley. And,
how many applied normally, do you know?
I think they've served like 10 children, like medicine, like only a dozen children have actually got their medicine, but thousands of people are starting to find out about them and apply.
But the chances of getting this is slim, or
yeah,
did you
I mean, they
expect to get
obviously
approved?
are trying to serve more people. We didn't know, but we did everything we could to try to line it up, and we thought we had a really good case. But you know, in September of 2023, she was accepted, and so there are researchers right now with my daughter's genes, literally trying to figure out to create this medicine out in California. And just to think that, wow, you know, God, I wish you would heal her. I wish you would do those things, but you are putting the path before us, and you're putting the people in our lives and orchestrating it all, because like you're going to do it one way or the other. And we're just enjoying the journey along the way. Enjoy is a strong word, but
in regards to healing her, I know that healing doesn't always come the way that we want it. Sometimes God heals situations and we're going, this is not healing. And then maybe a year later we look back and go, I don't know how that healed, but it's healed.
yeah.
And you're talking about, I mean, you are connecting with people all over the world that you would have never connected with otherwise. And, you know, we talk a lot, you know, Christianese stuff is like, let your light shine and, you know, all that. And if you've never heard that term, you have no idea what that means. But we get put in situations where we have the opportunity to let our light shine, let our faith just be a testimony to people that they don't even know, this thing that we call scripture references as peace that passes understanding. It's like when you're going through crazy and you have this peace that passes understanding, the people that you're with, they don't comprehend that if they don't know anything about it. And so you've been connected with so many people over the years now, over a decade now, that have seen something that they may have not seen otherwise. And so when you say you hope the Lord heals her, what does that mean to you now? I mean, I know it means I believe it means something different than what it meant 10 years ago, but how has that evolved for you?
I mean, obviously I wanted that miraculous healing that we read about in the Bible. Like, I want that. I could still take it. Like, I will not turn that away by any means.
Have you tried a Benny Hinn event?
I don't know.
Sorry. I'm acting like we're not on camera right now, but we are.
But I will tell this story too. Our pastor prayed over us when I was in one of my darkest moments in deep depression and despair and just filled with so much hurt that, like, why is my baby like this? Like, why is my life like this? And he prophesied over us and said, I really don't believe that God is going to heal Marley miraculously, but I do believe that God is going to heal her little by little over time. And I walked away from that moment very angry and very upset, and I obviously had to take some time to process that and, you know, kind of pushed it to the back of my mind. And now 12 years down the road, I can literally look back and see the hand of God touching her life in so many different ways, and literally the miracles pouring out on her. I never thought she was going to run. I never thought she was going to say, I love you.
Hey, pause right here, Kayla. We're coming up on a break. We've got to go, but you've got to hear the rest of the story, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
A reminder of the breaking news this hour. At least 22 people are reported to have died in a strike in Gaza.
The rise of Islam.
We're trying to bring answers for so many families desperately.
Is the Israel-Hamas-Iran conflict World War III? So let's talk about the four horsemen. What do these horses symbolize? These are the four spirits of the heavens which go forth from standing before the Lord of all the earth. In the end time, the true people of God will not be weak, anemic, and defeated. These prophesied events are revealing we are quickly approaching the time of the Great Tribulation right now.
Now streaming on OnlySource and available to order at endtime.com/green. Go to endtime.com/green or call 800-ENDTIME.
What if you could understand Bible prophecy? Dave Robbins, the host of the End Time Show's TV and radio programs, is holding a free prophecy conference near you. Gain peace and understanding about what the Bible says concerning end time prophecy. Call 1-800-ENDTIME or go to endtime.com/events to see when Dave will be in a location near you.
Welcome back to the End Time Show. Vince Stegall here with Kayla Mansour and Kayla Ferris. Do you believe in miracles? That's the question we're posing today. I want to hear your answer in the chat. Let us know. Share a miracle that's happened in your life. Maybe it could be called a small miracle. I don't believe in small miracles, but sometimes the Lord does things and you share it with others. It may not be, like I mentioned in the first half of the show, you might not be calling fire down from heaven or something crazy like that maybe you would see in a movie, but it could be, paperwork being completed that has been in the pending status for 8 months, and then it just happens on the exact day, at the exact moment that you need it to, or who knows what. There's miracles that are happening every single day, and I think it would be a good idea to start sharing about all these quote-unquote, little miracles that are going on, and let us know in the chat how God has been performing miraculous things in your life. Now, I do want to make mention quickly that Dave and Jana Robbins will be near you. It is August 24th, 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. in Burton, Michigan. All the details for this conference are available at endtime.com/events. Also, when you go there, you're going to see that I'm preaching next Wednesday here in the Dallas area at North Cities. John Little's preaching the week after that at North Cities as well. So all that's available at endtime.com/events. We would love for you to connect with us at one of our local events that we're having. And we have a good time when we get together. Dave's event is Prophecy. The one John and I are preaching at is a regular church service where we'll be preaching. But we would love to have you out at either one. It's always an honor to connect with Endtimers, regardless of what the event is. But everything you need to know is at endtime.com/events. You can also call us at 800-ENDTIME, and we'll be happy to help you out over the phone. Kayla Mansour, Kayla Ferris, thanks again for joining me today. I know this is nerve-wracking. This is not normal to sit in a dark room and look at a camera and talk and be recorded, and everything you say is going to be held against you, or whatever goes through our minds as we do this. But as we were talking a few weeks ago, you were telling me, you and your husband Jonathan were telling me about some of the miracles that have been happening in your life. And I said, man, we've got to share that on the End Time Show sometime. And then I surprised you with how about next week, because we had some schedule shifting here, and so it just became the perfect week if we were ever going to do it. And so here we are, Wednesday, August 13th, talking about the miracles that God has done in y'all's life. And then soon we'll insert Kayla Ferris and her story, and we're running out of time quickly, so we better get back to it. Everybody needs to hear this story, and also everybody needs to go to endtime.com/K20. That's going to lead them to a page where they can donate a minimum amount of $20. They'll get one of these handmade keychains, handmade right here in the state of Texas by working moms. I don't know how else to sell this in a good way, but everybody needs a keychain. the keychains are great, but not because they're so great. The story that connects to them is awesome, and I can't wait to share that. So endtime.com/K20, and Kayla, I don't know where you left off because the music stopped us and we had to go to a break, but pick up where you left off, and let's hear the rest of the story because everybody needs to know.
I think I was just talking about that I never saw the healing and the little healings that were happening in Marley, but now I can look back and know that, she wasn't supposed to run. She wasn't supposed to say, I love you. And she wasn't supposed to jump. She wasn't supposed to read. And she does all these beautiful things now. And I'm just thankful that God has literally had his hand on her and performed miracles along the way, whether I knew it or not at the time.
And then, so where do we start with this year? Because a lot has happened. You had the insurance problem. You mentioned that earlier when we were talking about insurance, where they denied coverage for the speech therapy, and then you had to fight to get it back, and you fight every 6 months no matter what. But then all this other stuff starts happening this year as well. Can we get into that now?
Yeah, it actually happened the same month in February. I found out that though our medicine will be free for life, the administration cost of Marley being in this clinical trial for 2 years is not. And
the medicine's free. You say the administration cost?
Yeah, so you're talking about like ORs and doctors and anesthesiologists and overnight stays. So the research side of things, them documenting what's happening and whatnot. So all those things are not free and come with a 6-figure price tag. And we've been told $100,000 to $110,000 is what we're going to have to pay. And this isn't uncommon. Other families who are in this program are doing this. They're refinancing their homes. They're literally going into debt and putting this on credit cards. And, we had to sit with that for a little bit because we have a family. We have a lot of responsibility, and obviously nobody wants to do that. But if you have to do that, you do what you have to do. And I told Jonathan, my husband, I said, I think we need to start a fundraiser for Marley. I have no idea how we're going to do it, but I don't know. We just got to try. We got to try. And so we started fundraising in February for Marley. And
then how about the medical stuff? Because you guys are telling me about, I don't want to get too far ahead in the year, the different, I don't even know what words to use, the different treatments that were supposed to be impossible, and that, $8,000 a thing and all that. Is that time? Is it time to get there yet in the year? Or
well,
we're not quite there in the story.
I think you might be talking about stem cells.
Yeah.
So that's another small miracle that popped up in our life recently. A doctor here in Garland, Dr. Darcy, with Achieve Vitality, out of nowhere, I went and saw him because once again a door opened and God said go. And so I went, and he said, I am going to gift stem cells to Marley for a year, and at no cost at all, which was going to be probably around $26,000 for that treatment. And we just did our first one. So I don't know how God's playing it all together with the cells and the medicine and all the other therapies we do, but I'm believing it's all for his good and for Marley's good. And so that's a huge miracle. No one's ever just given me $26,000. So
So you said in February is when you told Jonathan that you needed to do fundraiser.
Yes, that's when we started.
And then April rolls around, which is kind of when we get to Kayla Ferris's story, or at least a portion of her story. Mm-hmm. I have no idea how to start talking about this, Kayla. I don't want to do it at all. So I'm just going to let you jump in because, y'all have known each other for a long time. We go to church together, but I don't know if you guys were buddies or not before, how close you were. I don't think you were that close, right?
Mm-mm. We weren't.
And so now you're close. Now you guys spend a lot of time together.
She's on my favorites on my phone.
Oh, wow. She made favorites. That's like top 8 on MySpace back in the day. So now she went from not in your favorites to in your favorites on your phone. How do we start talking about that?
All right. Well, there's not really a good way to start talking about that. On April 3rd, our daughter, who was a senior in high school, was headed out to Preview Bible College, Urshan. She had 2 friends in the car with her. there was an auto accident, and she and one of her two friends passed away at the scene. And Kayla and I weren't close. We always had a mutual appreciation for each other. My daughter Brinley worked in the children's ministry, loved her children. But when it came time to unexpectedly plan a visitation and meals, a funeral, all of the things that followed in those few weeks after, this mama that you've just heard describe what her life is, it's appointments, she works a full-time job, she has other children, she's fighting for Marley, she's fighting insurance, she's all the doctor's appointments, and she took days off of work to be there with me. She was at my home, she was helping everything. We took Brinley's celebration of life was a lot different than most of them. We took all of the dreams Brinley had for her graduation party and treated her visitation and her celebration of life as her final graduation, because when she passed from this life, she was chasing after Jesus, and so ultimately she graduated above and beyond whatever expectations. But just like Kayla talked about, our stories are very different. They're also very similar in that what followed was not easy. It was dark. It was a lot, and we have come in contact with and touched so many lives that have touched our lives that we could not even begin to list all of the people. But in that time, Kayla was one of the ones that was a constant, as were you, your family. So having gotten through that, we have other children. It was time for NAYC, which is this youth convention where about 40,000 young people get together. It's time of worship and preaching. And so my youngest daughter, it was her first year to go. My oldest daughter was going as a chaperone, but it cost to get to the trip. So we decided to do a fundraiser, came up with the keychain sale idea, and made as many as we thought we needed in order to get them what they needed. Well, people are so kind, and they just started donating more. Some people were giving us $200 for a keychain, and so we didn't want to take too much money and then, advertise it as a fundraiser and then not use it for something charitable. So knowing that Kayla had done what I could never, ever repay her for, I thought we could at least give it to Marley. So we decided everything when we sell these, we'll give to Marley. That's above and beyond the girls' trip. And so then when we started telling people that, people wanted more than what we already had made. And so we just started making more keychains. And one of my daughters has been helping me with the beaded ones. I've done the sewn ones. We started packaging them. I started working with Kayla on a regular basis. And we started this in the middle of July to pay for their NAYC trip. And now I think I probably have finished making and packaging about 450 keychains, and of those 450, about 300 have already been sold and shipped out to different people. And so while I could never repay her and her family for what they did for us in a time of loss, while I was working on this, because sleep was not coming easily to me, a lot of the work was done at night, and it was about 3 o'clock on a Sunday morning, actually, and I was still in my craft room making keychains, and I was just talking to God. My daughter, Brinley, that passed away, we called her B. She had a Spotify playlist, and it was the best playlist, and everything that she chose was the best song. If she found it, it was the best, and so she played it nonstop in our house. It's about 28 hours of music, and in her absence, I have played that in my craft room, and that was playing, I was sewing, and I was just praying, and I was like, God, you've brought us a long way, and I'm so thankful that I'm getting to do this. And when he did, we have a saying in our family, which I can explain a little bit, but it's 20 minutes. I love you 20 minutes. And it's like all of a sudden, I thought, this could be a fundraiser. This could help Marley. We could do this. Like, we could do this bigger than what we're already doing. And 20 minutes and then some came to my mind, and then $20,000 came to my mind. And I was like, okay, currently I'm so emotional. I don't really trust myself. But Lord, I feel like you're telling me that we could raise $20,000 by selling keychains, and at $10 each, that's a whole lot of keychains.
My fingers are hurting. Start
I
thinking
was
about
like,
it.
but
and hey, I've got to pause you because there's another break coming. I hate to do that.
It's okay.
But we won't forget where you left off this time. You got to hear the rest of this story. It gets it's kind of like a roller coaster today. So we want you to hear the rest of this story. Don't forget to go to endtime.com/K20. We'll explain more of that on the other side of the break.
Many people argue America is not mentioned in the prophecies of the Bible. But they will miss so much about the coming events that will happen in the end time if they don't get that understanding. What do these beasts symbolize? That's what we need to answer. Because if we can't understand what these beasts symbolize, there's no point in even studying this, right? If you don't believe that America is mentioned in the Bible, you're going to be stuck when it comes to figuring out all these prophecies. But once you understand this, America has a prophesied future. It's given to us in the Bible. And the America will not be part of the world government, but we're going to be protecting Israel against the world government all the way to the second coming of Jesus Christ.
Now streaming on OnlySource and available to order at endtime.com/America. Go to endtime.com/America or call 1-800-ENDTIME.
Welcome back to the End Time Show. Vince Stegall here with Kayla Mansour and Kayla Ferris. We run out of time. We talk about this all the time. We need 2 hours on this show because we run out of time so quickly. But I'll just say again, go to endtime.com/K20. Your donation of $20 or more will get you a keychain. And we're right in the middle. You're making keychains. And just to reiterate quickly, Kayla, we've heard Kayla Mansour's story about her and her family, Marley being born and having this rare disease that they've diagnosed 9.5 years into her life. And as she's walking through this journey, so much is happening, so many struggles with insurance, doctor's appointments, all the things that come with life and challenges that come. And then just 4 months ago, Kayla Ferris and her family, they lose their daughter Brinley in a car accident. And that's when both Kayla's here. They've known each other for a long time, but they've really just synergized in the last 4 months as Kayla Mansour navigating all the things. She has a full-time job, 3 children, a very needy husband, and I hope he's watching, and just a really busy life. She says, I've got to step up and go be with Kayla Ferris and her family as they navigate this very challenging time. And she did that, and they've just synergized together, and it's been awesome to see. And now we're getting to the point in the story where Kayla Ferris is making keychains to raise money for her 2 daughters to go to a large youth conference in North America called NAYC, North American Youth Congress. And there's almost 40,000 kids that go to this event. And so they're raising money to do that. And then you were right at the point where you're making these keychains, and you said the Lord starts speaking to you, Kayla Ferris, about $20,000. That's a crazy thought.
It was a crazy thought.
And you're going, I can't trust myself.
Yeah.
How did that all play out? Because I've had these things happen, and I'm like, Lord, I don't know if this is really you. And I kind of know it's really him, but I'm like, I got to show him how humble I am. This isn't me thinking it.
Yeah.
Not really, but, I question it, and I got to really confirm with him. So how'd that go for you?
Yeah, so that 3 a.m, I'm just in my room by myself. Her music's playing. I'm talking to him, and I'm like, God, if this is you, if you want this, I'm willing. I will step forward in faith. But you're going to have to send somebody because I'm really good at making things. I'm very crafty. I can handle all of that. But technology, social media, like trying to organize that and get the product sold, all of that, that's scary to me. So you're going to have to send somebody that can do that. And so I left it at that. But I still had it on my heart. And I went to church that morning. We went through service. After service, I was still at the altar, just, standing there enjoying the peacefulness. And Amanda Smith walks up to me and she says, "Hey, Kayla told me you were making keychains. If you need any help, if you guys want help with your fundraiser, I could help you." And so I was thinking, well, I do most of my work at night, and I'm
3 in the morning.
Yeah. So I'm like, I have several kids. I'm busy. I'm content making it. So I was like, well, that's really sweet of you. I was like, I really honestly am doing okay. I have, I kind of work just when I can between things. I said, what I'm not good at is all the social media, the online sales, that kind of stuff. If you know somebody that does this. And she said, well, my husband and I have had several online stores, and my husband, we could do that. We can help you. And so I was like, okay, Lord. So I didn't tell her just right then, but I did. I met with her, and it's been a whirlwind. We have created all of these. We have some special designs. If we have time, I want to tell you about. But when you called and said, there's an opening, would y'all be willing to come and speak? We said yes. Then we called Amanda, who went to our church back, I think, like 2007, has been gone and just recently moved back. God brought them back to Texas within the last 3 months, maybe.
Yeah.
And so just the timing, there's a million little tiny miraculous things that we could throw into this story that are just God saying, okay, next step, okay, here's the door, okay, step here, walk here. While I'm trying to help Marley in obedience to him, that spot in my house, that's my peaceful place. It's restoring me. My time with him is helping to ease the pain of losing my daughter, seeing that her light. And if you guys go to our website, we have an all about me page, I think is what it's called. But it tells the story of who Brinley is. She was bold and beautiful and fun.
We've got some photos too. I think we can play or show, and maybe some we have a video where she's helping Remy.
Yeah.
Sorry, she's bold and beautiful and all those things. I interrupted.
She is, and so being able to, in our family, her memory will always be alive. But being able to share that with other people, and my good friend Krista, she had told me when she found out about the keychain, she said, if you could do something that was bee related, I would pay a lot of money, because Krista is Remy's mom. Remy has a genetic condition as well. This is Remy and Brinley, and Brinley worked with Remy for Krista with Remy, loved Remy so much. And so she said if it had a bee on it, I would pay a lot of money for that. And so that kind of sparked the idea. So we have like some honeycomb ones. We have some that have bee charms on them.
Let's talk about those real quick. Show people what you brought some with you.
We've got some that are like a honeycomb pattern of the key fobs, some that have the bees on them.
We've got some photos as well that we'll display
some charms,
here.
Yeah, and they can see on our website as well. And so that kind of inspired that. But I kind of lost my train of thought talking about that. But we just went from there and met with Amanda, then got your call, and this entire website came together in a matter of 2 days with 3 mamas just working and calling and chatting. And then we get here, and I still think 20,000 sounds amazing. And Vince says, I'm believing 50. For 50. I'm believing for 50.
Hey, there's somebody listening right now that could write that check, that could go to endtime.com/K20. Again, I'll emphasize, none of this comes to Endtime. We are not benefiting financially from this in any way. All of this is going to what you're doing. Keychains powered by moms. And handmade. You're hand making all these, sewing these in your home.
Absolutely, yeah.
When are you going on Shark Tank? Is what I
We went on Endtime.
Yeah, just remember that. But I think somebody out there, I mean, you could, I would love to hear about, because you have a lot of kids. We haven't even talked about all your other kids. You've got a lot of kids, a lot of family, big family here.
Yeah.
I would love to hear about the stories of them having to fulfill thousands of keychain orders as a result of this interview, as a result of talking about your story, because I know how much it's going to bless the kingdom of God. It's not just like you're not going out and buying a Corvette here. This is something that is going to bless the kingdom of God. They're going to go to expand his kingdom, And it's not anything like what we normally do on the End Time show. It's actually a little crazy. I felt the nudge from the Spirit as we're talking and saying, we got to share that with the End Timers on the End Time show. And so here we are, endtime.com/K20. Everybody go there. Minimum donation of $20, and you'll get a keychain. Of course, you can go there and click on, let's see, if you're already there and you want to see all the different collections, you can click that and see the beaded keychains, the custom beaded keychains. So there's all sorts of those, and then the fabric wristlets. They're awesome. When you brought them in today, I thought, man, I didn't know they were that good. They look really good.
Thank you.
I can't wait to get a few for myself. But endtime.com/K20, donate. I think somebody could go there right now. Just cover the whole $50,000 in one order. That would probably blow PayPal up a little bit. They'd be like,
it would.
how did this happen?
Yeah.
But anyway, I would love to see thousands of keychains. Hear about your dining room table being covered with keychain packaging.
That's what we're excited, and Kayla and I both. She's like, "Can we handle? What if it's too big?" And we both decided, like, if God led us here, He'll provide, and He has each step of the way. And we've even come up with a long-term goal, like beyond. We're trusting God and thinking beyond Marley. Do everything we can to help Marley, and then we want to continue in hopes of doing some type of scholarship in Brinley's name to keep her memory alive, because each person that we're touching is being touched by it, but we're also touched by that. And so Marley's story is blessing us, our story is blessing her. The number of people that we've interacted with and talked to, it's built our faith, it's built their faith. And my other kids have gotten to sit back and see and watch, and hear all the little stories that we don't have time to share here, and be amazed by God's faithfulness in a time that I've lost grandparents. I've even lost my brother. Nothing compares to what this felt like. And to see God take that and all of the pain and use it to help somebody else. And He doesn't allow our pain to not have a purpose. And if we'll listen and respond to Him in our giving to others, He in turn is healing us. And it's just been beautiful. It's been a new realm of faith for me to step into.
And I would say what I say a lot. I'm told I say this a lot. We ain't seen nothing yet.
Amen.
I can't wait to see what all the Lord's going to do. On the beaded keychains, I'm looking at it here, you have a teacher one for teachers, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
And so Mama, and then this one that we were talking about before the show that I have no idea even still what it means, ILYSM. That's some acronym that the youngins use today, I hear.
Yeah. I
And
love
probably,
you so much.
Probably, what is it?
I love you so much.
Oh, that's probably not the youngins, and that's probably everyone that is in tune, and I'm not. Team Marley, peace, faith, teacher, mama, 20 men, which you, well, no, you didn't get to explain that.
I didn't explain it, no. So when Brinley was little, she's the fourth of 6 children, but she was always a fighter, always wanted to be in the big middle of everything, and so we would say, I love you, infinity. Well, Brinley didn't have the word infinity in her vocabulary yet, so she thought we were saying, I love you 20 minutes, or 20, so she started saying, I love you 20 minutes, and so that became our way of saying, I love you, infinity, in our home. And so 20 minutes, we have keychains that have that on them. We also have a couple other ones that we will always keep as standards. One is Be Happy. I did mention that her nickname was Bee, so it's BEE Happy. She was always happy. She was friendly, Brinley. She was loud. She was outgoing. If
Wild.
she was there,
So
you
wild.
knew she was there.
The opposite of me, pretty much. So wild and outgoing.
And then we have one special one that we will always have, that is Be His. Her dear friend Hannah, that was also taken in that accident. Her initials were HIZ. All 3 of the girls that were in the car were going to a Bible college preview. They were all planning to go to Bible college, pursue ministry, and Hannah's family also did a scholarship fundraiser where they had shirts with her initials, HIZ, and were referring to being his, being God's. And so this just kind of came together. So I talked to her family and I said, would you guys be okay when we first started this as just a small fundraiser for basically our churches, our local churches, to help us get these girls to the youth convention? Would you be okay? And they were like, we would be honored to have Hannah. And I said, it's just a select group that would probably want these, but I just wanted to get your permission. And so of course we made them one as well.
Well, I'm hoping it goes to thousands of people. And here we are at the end of the show. Unfortunately, we're out of time to talk about more. There's still more to talk about, but I want to give an update later on. How many days is it going to take to go ahead and fulfill this 50,000 goal that I've thrown out there in faith, just being wild? Kayla Ferris says 20,000. I'm saying 50. Go to endtime.com/K20. Any donation of $20 or more will get you one of these keychains, and then you can also go browse their collection as well. Everything's going right now to bless Marley and this situation, and I can't wait to give you the update. Endtime.com/K20. Thank you for joining us today. We'll see you right back here tomorrow at 3 p.m. Central Time.